Hello friends. As an experiment, I decided to try a new format, short reviews of Home Assistant updates, where I will collect the most notable and useful changes without a long enumeration of all the items from the release notes. And today we will look at what appeared in Home Assistant in June 2026. And before we begin, as usual, I ask you to like this video. That way other people who are interested in smart homes and automations will be able to find it. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so before. We begin the review with changes in adding cards to the dashboard. In the old version, the main scenario was choosing by card type. First, you had to decide what exactly you needed: a tile, a button, a room card, a calendar, or some other option. And only after that configure which entities inside it would be used. Choosing by entities was also available here, but it looked more like a regular list. You could find the required entity, mark it with a checkbox, and continue creating the card. At the same time, it was not visible in advance which display option would suit it best and what capabilities were available at all for the selected object. In the new version, choosing by entity has become much more visual. Instead of a general list on the left, a home structure has appeared: rooms, devices, and then individual entities inside them. While nothing is selected, Home Assistant does not offer random options, but waits for which object exactly we want to add to the dashboard. For example, I open the bedroom, choose the chandelier entity, and on the right a selection of cards specifically for lights immediately appears. Here there is a regular tile, a variant with brightness control, a separate power button, color temperature, and favorite colors. All options are immediately shown with the data of the selected entity. The required entity can still be found through search, which is especially convenient in a large system. For an ordinary switch, the selection is already noticeably shorter. Home Assistant offers a simple tile and a tile with a separate switch. That is, the list depends not only on the entity name, but also on what capabilities it has. For a numeric sensor, the set of cards changes even more. If you choose the carbon dioxide reading, you can show the current value, a small tile with a graph, or full statistical graphs for different periods. As a result, we first choose the data we want to see, and Home Assistant then shows suitable ways to display it. Let us move on to the changes in the automation editor. First, open the Home Assistant settings, then the System section. Inside the System settings, find the Labs section. This is where functions are located that are still considered experimental and may change in future versions. This is the option we are interested in. It adds new, more understandable triggers and conditions, as well as a tree-style object selection when creating automations. Click Enable. Home Assistant warns that the function is still under development and suggests creating a backup before activation. The experimental function itself appeared earlier, but in the June update, the editor received several notable improvements: counters for target entities, live condition indicators, and the ability to add notes to individual steps. Leave backup creation enabled and confirm the activation. Before enabling the new function, Home Assistant will automatically save the current configuration. After completion, the button changes to Disable. This means the experimental triggers and conditions are activated, and now we can move on to creating a demonstration automation. Let us create a new automation. For an example, we will take a simple household scenario. If there is no one in the bedroom for several minutes, but the light remains on, Home Assistant should turn it off. Adding a trigger can now begin not with its technical type, but with the required object. We choose the bedroom, and on the right Home Assistant immediately shows suitable events for this room. In our case, this is the trigger. The sensors have stopped detecting presence. I have two suitable sensors in the bedroom, so I choose the All option. The automation will start only when both sensors stop seeing presence and remain in that state for 5 minutes. Next to the room, the number of found entities is immediately displayed. If you click this counter, you can open the list and check which specific sensors will participate in the trigger. Now let us add conditions. First, I choose the virtual switch auto off light and the condition turned on. This way, automatic light shutoff can be allowed at any moment or temporarily disabled without changing the automation itself. We add the second condition for the bedroom room. Home Assistant shows suitable checks for all objects in the room, and here we choose light is on. At least one light in the bedroom must be on. The conditions now have live status indicators. A green dot shows that the check is currently passing, and an orange one shows that the condition is not met. For the light, we leave the any option, because the automation should work even if only one of the 4 lights is on. Let us move on to the action. Again, we choose the bedroom as the target object, and Home Assistant immediately offers suitable commands for all devices in this room. We need the turn off light action. After adding the action, a counter of entities appears next to the bedroom again. In this case, Home Assistant shows that the turn off command will affect 4 lights. By clicking the counter, you can open a detailed list and check which specific light sources will be affected by the action. This is especially useful in large systems, where there may be several different devices and groups in one room. Here is the whole automation, one of the most common variants. When both sensors in the bedroom do not see presence for 5 minutes, Home Assistant checks that automatic shutoff is allowed and that at least one light is still on, after which it turns off all the lights in the room. Here you can see that one of the lights is on, so the light is on condition is immediately marked with a green indicator. The editor shows the state of the conditions right during setup without a separate automation run. And if you turn off the auto off light helper, the first condition stops being met and the indicator changes color. This makes it possible to quickly understand why the automation should not run right now. Another useful change: notes can now be added to individual automation steps. To do this, open the menu of the required condition and choose Add Note. In the note, you can briefly explain why this step is needed or what exact logic it checks. This is especially convenient in more complex automations that you return to after several months. After saving, a separate icon appears for the condition, and the note text is displayed right in the side panel. In our case, it is immediately visible that the condition checks for the presence of at least one turned-on light in the room. Let us conduct a small experiment. Open the light that is currently located in another room. In the device settings, you can see that it is assigned to the living room, while our automation works with the bedroom. Now temporarily change the room of this device to the bedroom. We do not make any changes to the automation itself. We return to the editor, and the number of lights immediately increased from 4 to 5, both in the condition and in the action. The new light automatically became part of the automation because its target is the entire room, not a fixed list of entities. And the point is that now this is visible clearly. Besides the fact that you immediately see the number of devices, you can open their list and make sure that everything you expect is there. This works for all entities that use the room of their device. While the Use Device Area option is enabled, moving a device to another room automatically changes the affiliation of its entities as well. If you return the light to its real room, the number decreases to 4 again. The logic of working with an entire room existed before as well, but now the editor immediately shows which entities will actually be included in the trigger, condition, or action. Media player tiles also received separate improvements in this update. For a compatible device, Home Assistant offers options with playback control, volume, and sources. In volume cards, a separate mute button can now also be displayed. For a TV, you can add a source selection tile. In the regular view, all available options that the device sends to Home Assistant are shown here. In my case, these are TV and HDMI. In version 2026.6, the source list can be filtered directly in the card feature editor. For example, if I only need the HDMI input on the dashboard, I leave it in the list and remove the other options. After saving, only the selected source remains in the drop-down list. This is a small change, but it makes it possible to make the card neater and not show the user unnecessary inputs or modes that they do not use anyway. Another small visual change, the add-ons section, which is now called Apps. Installed applications are displayed as separate cards with an icon, name, short description, and a clear status indicator, so it is immediately visible what is running and what is not. Small labels may also be shown for applications, and their pages have received a neater appearance that is more convenient to use, including on a tablet. On the device page, related automations, scripts, and scenes are now collected in one block called Related. Here you can immediately see where this light is used, and empty sections no longer take up separate cards. A button called Add to has appeared nearby. From it, you can immediately create a new automation, script, or scene, and the selected device will already be inserted as a trigger, condition, or action. That is, there is no longer a need to open the editor separately and search for the required entity again. An important point. For this, the experimental function of specialized triggers and conditions in the Labs section must be enabled. Another useful change for those who sometimes edit YAML directly in the Home Assistant interface. The built-in editors now highlight errors while typing. Missing colons, unclosed quotation marks, and incorrect indentation can be seen even before saving the configuration. Home Assistant 2026.6 is not an update that completely changes the system, but almost all of the changes shown make everyday work noticeably more convenient. Now, when adding a card, you can begin not with its technical type, but with the entity that we want to see on the dashboard. In the automation editor, it has become easier to understand which devices are actually involved in the scenario, whether the conditions are currently met, and why the automation may not work. The most useful changes to me seem to be the counters of target entities, live condition indicators, and notes for individual steps. In a large system, it is exactly such small improvements that help you understand the automation logic more quickly, especially when you come back to it after several months. For now, specialized triggers and conditions remain an experimental function from the Labs section, so they should be used carefully in critical scenarios, and backups should not be forgotten. This concludes the main changes of the June Home Assistant update. Write in the comments whether this short review format turned out to be useful and which features from version 2026.6 you have already managed to try. And, of course, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your attention. Until next time, peace to everyone.